Imagine waking up one morning and finding out that someone has made it their full-time job to absolutely destroy your business. Hundreds of videos calling you a scam, your name, your brand, every keyword associated with you, all negative. That's not a hypothetical. It was actually a real case. And in this video, I'm going to share a quick case study with you guys on a real crisis reputation problem that we had to resolve. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jordan. And in this video, we're just going to share a quick case study on what it looks like when a client comes under a attack from a competitor. In other words, a crisis here within online reputation management, and what we did to kind of take back their control. And we were able to not only put out the fire, but then also prevent it from ever happening again with the measures we took. One of our clients ran an online coaching program teaching people how to get started with Airbnb, like property management, kind of within that Airbnb space there. It was a legitimate business, real clients, real results, testimony after testimony. But one day a competitor decided to make it their personal mission to completely destroy this business across every front. They launched a coordinated smear campaign across Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and I believe even across Twitter. And so it was the four main socials there, and they just decided to go to war one day. Things got out of hand really quickly. Just within a couple of days, it was covered with negative results. That first page of Google was just absolutely smeared with negative results. Videos about the founders, calling them scam artists, con artists, the whole 9 yards, all of that. Every possible avenue you can think of that somebody would go down to try and completely destroy a business, they went down that road. And really an interesting fact about this case was that the perpetrator wasn't inexperienced. It wasn't somebody random. They knew exactly what they were doing because all of their content ranked immediately on page 1 of Google for pretty much any keyword that was associated with the client. And so they had been in the game. They understood they understood the basics of SEO. They understood a little bit about online reputation management, what ranks, what doesn't rank, things like that. So they really kind of had the upper hand in this situation and kind of putting the client at a tough disadvantage. And at peak, the perpetrator was posting about 10 to 20 videos per day per platform. So guys, we're talking like 40 to 60, even up to 80 videos a day. It was insane. And it was like this, it was ongoing for like a solid 2 to 3, I think it was even up to a month. And it was just non-stop negative videos coming out, false accusations, all these claims coming out, personal information even. I mean, it got really out of hand. And I'm going to keep this anonymized, of course, for obvious reasons, but just to kind of share with you guys the severity of this case and how complex these cases can turn into. And so by the time the client came to us and asked us for help, the entire first page of Google had been completely destroyed, and not only destroyed, but completely owned by this competitor, by this perpetrator. So what did the first 48 hours look like? Here's exactly what we did immediately. First thing we did was ran a full audit across every platform, every social media, everywhere that the client was mentioned. It's important to understand exactly where you're coming under attack. It can't just be a simple Google search. We've got to go into every directory that the client is featured on, any sort of podcast, social profile, business directory listing, things like that. We want to make sure that we've got every single piece of content compiled into a sheet. Doesn't matter if it's ranking for Google or not, we still need to have all that compiled so that we can then build out the correct response. The second thing we did was immediately identify which links could be removed and which couldn't. Removal is going to always be the fastest shield of defense. If we can get something taken down, then that's pretty much a solved problem, and it's going to make our lives easier as well as help protect the client in the short term. We obviously prioritized the highest ranking pieces first and then kind of just worked our way down the list. And the third thing is actually something quite interesting. It's often overlooked, swept under the rug, if you will. A lot of people don't think of it in this way, but we went ahead and claimed every single negative possible keyword username for the client on their behalf. So reason for doing that is if we don't claim those negative usernames, somebody else will. And they'll actually use those to their advantage. They'll take advantage of those and they're able to do more harm with that because you don't own those. Those are going to rank higher because it's the client name plus negative sentiment keyword there. And if they were to go and publish negative content using those accounts, let's say TikTok, Reddit, the chances of that ranking is going to be extremely high just because of the nature of those usernames. And so we claimed every negative username and keyword variant across Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, and any other platform that mattered. And by doing that, we were able to stop any sort of further leaks. The client really only had to work with what they had. They couldn't go and claim a negative username on TikTok or Reddit and start posting there because we had access to those. They were ours in our possession on behalf of the client. And now here's a legal aspect to all of this. And it's going to be when you know the person who's actually coming after you. So in this specific case, our client knew exactly who the perpetrator was. It was somebody that had actually known for a couple of months prior to all of this happening. So it wasn't a stranger. It wasn't some troll on the internet who was bored on a Wednesday afternoon and decided to come after their brand. This was planned. It was strategic in how they executed this smear campaign. And really that kind of changed the game entirely. Because when you can identify the person behind the attack, you have options that go well beyond content suppression or content removal. We sent cease and desist letters, we got our lawyers involved, and some of what they were publishing wasn't just negative, but was actually illegal, right? So they were sharing some personal information, last names, family member names. It really got out of hand really quickly. And because they shared not only that negative information, but that illegal information, we did have to get lawyers involved, and it really gave us the higher ground in this instance. And when you have enough evidence of someone leaking personal information, personal data, or simply violating any sort of platform's guidelines or policies, you can go after their accounts directly. And that's exactly what we did. We were able to get their Instagram page and their Facebook page removed entirely. Not suppressed, but removed. So completely gone. And that's simply because they gave us the evidence we needed by just going too far. And this is a degree of crisis management that a lot of people overlook or simply just don't think about. If you know who's coming after you and they're breaking the law or even breaking policy guidelines, that's going to be leverage. So just use it. And then, of course, the ongoing battle, why this took 6 months. Even after we removed the perpetrator's main accounts, they didn't stop there. They just kept going. They found other avenues, other routes, new platforms, new social medias. And that's just going to be the reality of a determined perpetrator, somebody that really wants to see your business burn to the ground. They don't just stop because you push back or maybe because you got their Instagram page taken down legally. They still had content ranking. They still had other profiles they were using from. Maybe it was a burner account, and they were still very active. And this is why crisis communication isn't just a one-time fix, but it's going to be an ongoing process here. And for the next 6 months, we were posting content consistently across every platform. Articles, directories, social profiles, PR placements. Every week, new assets going live, new content taking up space, pushing their results further and further down from page one. All at the same time, we were continuing to identify what could be removed and what couldn't. So really, it was removal and suppression all working parallel week after week until all threats had been neutralized or completely removed from page one of Google. The PR was particularly important in this case because the client really needed third-party credibility and they needed it quick. Getting them featured on recognized publications helped Google understand who they actually were, not the story that the perpetrator was trying to tell. Lastly, the outcome. 6 months of nonstop work, and the results completely took a 180, where the perpetrator's content once dominated every single keyword, their brand name, their personal names, family member names. We now dominate all of it. Positive content across the board, their own social media profiles, their own assets, press coverage, directories, business listings, all ranking where the attacks used to live just 6 months ago. And so that's what a full crisis recovery looks like. It's by no means quick. 6 months is typically going to be the minimum here. It really just depends on the severity of the case and who is actually coming after you, whether it's multiple people, maybe it's an entire organization. But these cases do vary in severity. But really, these results don't happen without consistent daily efforts that happen month after month. But it is possible. And the businesses that come out on the other side stronger are the ones that just trusted the process and stayed consistent. And hopefully that was informational. If you guys liked it, go ahead and drop a comment below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. We post like this weekly. And if you guys are in the middle of a crisis communication, go ahead and click that link. We'll run a free audit and let you know exactly where your brand is, where you're positioned, what we can leverage. And we'll have a tailored plan built out for you, ready to go, so that we can help take back your reputation online. That's it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.